What's up, everybody? So we're here in the shop today. A little small, a little cramped, but we make it work. Back for another look at the Pioneer. We'll go over the cab. It's a little dusty and dirty. I've been doing stuff all couple weeks and been busy, and it's just been sitting. But we'll go over the cab, probably the snorkel, a little bit of the audio at the very least, because the headliner's in, so the amplifiers are in, everything's hooked up as far as that's concerned. We just got a little bit of wiring left to do before we can actually put the box fully together, put it in, and hook everything up. So yeah, without further ado, I mean, let's get to it. Go check this cab out. Nothing real super special. I mean, it's 1.25" schedule 40 pipe for the A pillars and this crossover bar here, and then everything else is schedule 10. It was a little more difficult to skin it. I skinned it with, I believe this is 18 gauge sheet metal, so that was a little tougher than I expected. You know, I had to score it pretty good, and to get it to make this, you know, a round bend to follow the bars in here, it just wasn't happening, and it just is what it is. Doors are, the top half of the door here is 18 gauge. The bottom section of the door here, this is all 20 gauge. I did make them. I wanted to open, you know, suicide, and it turned out fairly well. I mean, I can't complain. You know, there's little imperfections on it, but in all honesty, I don't care. Thing took long enough to do. I'm just happy it's this far. The windows, I don't have the cranks or anything in right now. The windows and the doors are out of a cheap Cherokee XJ model, pretty much any of them, and they were pretty difficult to get in there with trying to keep the doors skinny and thin and trying to keep everything low profile so everything moves and does what it's supposed to. But nonetheless, they're in, they function. I got to shave down the width of the window just a tad because I made them a little bit tight when I put the new wiper seals and stuff in. This window here will be a stationary window. I still got to get them made, this and the windshield, and then obviously the passenger side. So that's still to come. Door handles are RV door handles. Goofy as it may seem, they worked. They did what I needed. The hinges are just I bought these hinges from the steel shop, steel house. They basically have just a ball bearing rides in the top, and they have a grease zerk that's not in these two right now. But, you know, we'll get it in there eventually. And of course, I made everything bolt up the same as far as this piece here is concerned, going to the cab. So on both sides, I basically just mocked what they had so I could start with what I wanted to do. And I'll be honest, they make it so that it sets on both of them from one side, and it's kind of convenient because you don't have to worry about it, you know, widening on you as you're heating it up and welding stuff on it and building on it. You know, you just lay it over, bolt it in. It works pretty good. So, snorkel, I basically made it 2-inch PVC, painted to make it look good, you know, of course. So it comes down yonder here. I did make a couple brackets like this one here, got them powder coated so they can be cleaned up. Just a couple 90s and a couple brackets, and then tied it straight into the intake there. But this is all my, you know, ventilation for the fuel tank, front diff, transmission. I mean, we got everything kind of tied in together here, including this little box, this shifter box over here. I heard some stuff about that thing getting water in it and it jamming up and not working right. So nonetheless, it comes out, it comes up, goes through the cab. So that would be it right there. Comes up through the cab. And then we got the roof cap on top there. So yeah, the old roof cap. This here really is a lifesaver, you know, I'll be honest. And it looks good too. I actually had a buddy of mine recommend this. We were just looking at it one day and I'm like, man, I got it coming out the roof, but I can't just leave it open, you know. So man, you should do like one of those vents like they have on like the roof or the scoops, you know, the air scoops on these cars. I'm like, oh man, that's a pretty good idea, you know. So we went with that. Backup camera, just got this little thing here just to cover it up, just in case anything tries to hit it. But yeah, I mean, nonetheless, it breathes great, man. I've sunk this thing pretty much to about here out at Colt Jeans, and it's sat there for shit at least an hour. We pulled it out, no water in anything, so gotta say it does. So I mean, as you see, the headliner's in, amps are mounted, everything's hooked up, dome light works. We have put power to the breakers here, made sure the amps come on, so we're good there. The majority of the wiring's done. I gotta patch some stuff up for my nephew, but for the most part, he's got everything wired up. We gotta run these out to the back for the bed for those 4 speakers. And we got to tie in these 2 super highs we have right here to these 4 in the bed. For the most part, the majority of it's ran. So it's really just getting the time to do it and getting it done. The headliner, however, turned out marvelous. I love it. It looks good. Finish Line Creative Concepts did it. And couldn't be happier with it. It fits right in, man. You know, they covered it. It looks good. So we got a couple backing plates as well that go here, and then the door panels, and that'll be it for interior. The wall's already done. Everything's wrapped in vinyl, so I can spray it off if need be. And the actual backboard of this it's some sort of fiberboard that I found, and I did 2-part epoxy over it. Cut everything, shaped it the way I wanted it, and then fiberglassed it all piece by piece together, and then sanded it down so that it kind of fits the contours that I wanted, and it fits in here the way it's supposed to. It was a little tight putting in, but realistically it turned out great. The header panel here, this took some time, and first thing was I wanted to move the dash up here, get it out of the water because I've wasted a few of them. I wanted the rear view camera to be mounted to it because obviously I can't see out the back, and all the switches. So I tried to bring everything electrical up to at least here, other than the door speakers. Now that I think about it, this automatic and manual transmission sport button there, it's still on the dash, but man, I don't ever mess with that anyway. So anyhow, I mean, that's for the most part, that's it. As far as the audio, as far as the wiring, we're moving along slowly. Alright, so as far as audio goes, this is everything in the bike. I bought these subs first because I was building the boxes, and these are the only things that aren't waterproof. So we may have to swap them out at some point in time, but everything's pretty high as far as up at the top of the cab, so I'm hoping it keeps everything out of the water. These are Elite Z6 DS18s. 6.5 inch sub, dual voice coil. I think they're 600 watt max, 300 watts RMS. Again, I have not heard any of this stuff work. I've turned the amps and the head unit on to make sure everything works in that sense, but I've yet to hear any of this come together, so we'll see what happens. These are the NXL 6BKs. They got RGB lights built into them, 6.5 inch mids. I got 2 here, one in each door panel. So, you know, with any luck, they'll turn out sounding good and everything will kind of come together. The head unit is MRX 100. Everything I looked up on this was, everybody was pretty impressed with it. Apparently it can push some audio, and I'll be honest, I'm not using much off of this because of the amps that I bought, but nonetheless, it looks good. It's sleek, it's clean, Bluetooth, all that jazz. So I'm excited to see how everything sounds together. Amps. So this here is I think this is a 1200 watt in XLF4. I got two of these, one mounted in the headliner on each side. One of them runs the 4, these two, and the other two in the door panels. The other one runs the 4 in the back and the 2 super highs. As far as the subs go, I got this NXL X1500. This is a 1500 watt monoblock amp. So these are 4 channels. This is a monoblock. So I got the subs to run off just this. And, you know, again, I don't know what any of this is going to sound like, but so far everything's coming together and looking good. So, being it's all brand new, I'm just, you know, hoping everything works, everything does what it's supposed to. This here is a kit I bought for the 4 speakers in the bed. So they're just 4-inch mids. They're waterproof tower speakers. I built a bar to hold them. And basically this kit here came with the speakers, the amp, and the head unit, the Bluetooth head unit, which I'm not using the amp or the head unit, most likely. But either way, definitely not sponsored by DS18. I would love to be. They want to send me some free stuff. I'll always be more than happy to, you know, shout it out for them. But the rear view camera that I have is a Vantop Discovery H610, and it's a pretty BA mirror, man. It's got quite a few functions and settings on it. Realistically, I'm not very technologically advanced. So my nephew, of course, he set it up, do whatever. But you can set them up to kick on if you get bumped, roll over, something like that. So they're good for your vehicles as well. You can throw it in place of your rear view on the car, front and rear camera. You know, not sponsored by them either, but hey, I like their product, so I don't mind giving them a shout out. So yeah, all in all, this is everything. The one thing I didn't touch on is the light rings. Everybody seems to like these. They work pretty good. They fit right over this. I put power to it just to make sure the lights come on, but you know, again, those are going to mount behind these 6.5 inch subs because there's no light here. These got lights in them. This has some sort of light, I'm sure. The speakers in the doors got light. So yeah, we're going to throw a little bit of light behind each one of these and hope that it looks good. As far as speaker covers for these, I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. They are kind of behind your head. I really, you know, would hate for somebody to bump it and mess it up, but we'll see what happens, you know. Kind of just rolling with it as we go here, you know. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching and checking everything out. Shooting for this week to get this finished put together and the cab finished wired up so we can actually set this thing in, get it all hooked up, get my nephew over here, he'll wire up the head unit for me and get everything ready to roll, and we'll see what this puppy will do, you know. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, man. Talk to y'all later.